I'm 67 years old, a retired bank manager. 2 years ago, my wife passed away. After that, life became strangely quiet. The house was the same, the furniture was the same, my teacup was the same, but somehow all the sound had disappeared from everything. For a long time, I told myself that being noticed didn't matter at my age. Those days are over, I would think. Who cares what you wear, how you walk, or whether people notice you anymore? Then one Sunday, my son asked me to come to the park with him and his children. They were playing football, and I was sitting alone on a bench watching them. That's when I noticed another man. He looked around 65 or 66, white hair, a simple navy blue sweater, jeans, clean shoes, nothing flashy, no expensive watch, no loud perfume, no attempt to dress like he was 30, but everyone seemed to know him. Dog walkers stopped to say hello. A young couple asked him for directions. Kids ran toward him when their football rolled away. Later, a woman around his age sat beside him, and they started talking and laughing. I remember looking at him and thinking, asterisk, what does this man have that I don't? Asterisk, he wasn't more handsome than me, he didn't seem fitter than me, but there was something about him that I didn't have. He didn't look like he was hiding from the world. Over the next few weeks, I saw him in the park several more times. His name was Fareed. He was a retired school principal. At first, I only watched him from a distance. Then one day, he saw me and waved. "Good morning," he said. "Do you come here often?" I felt strangely nervous. It had been months since a stranger had spoken to me normally, like I was still part of the world. "Sometimes," I said. He smiled, then turned sometimes into every day. Parks keep people alive. It was a simple sentence, but it stayed with me. We sat on a bench and talked. The first thing I noticed was that Fareed didn't keep his phone in his hand. His body was turned toward me, but he didn't sit too close. He looked at me while I spoke, but he didn't stare. He didn't interrupt. And when he laughed with his whole face. Eventually, I asked him, "Do you know everyone here?" He laughed. "No, not everyone," he said, "but I notice people. Maybe that's why they notice me." That sentence stayed in my mind for days. He said most people think they need to be loud to get noticed. They think they need an expensive car, expensive clothes, a loud voice, or some kind of younger man style. But after 60, the most important thing a man can show is that he hasn't given up on life. I didn't say anything because I knew he was right. After my wife died, I had slowly started making myself smaller. At the grocery store, I kept my eyes down. In elevators, if someone looked at me, I pulled out my phone. At restaurants, I spoke softly to waiters, almost like I was apologizing for being there. I had become less like a person and more like a shadow. Fareed never lectured me. He simply said, "Next time you come to the park, try 3 things. Walk straight. Don't look at the ground, look ahead. And when someone greets you, answer with your face, not just your voice." I joked, "That's it? People will start noticing me because of that?" He smiled and said, "Being noticed should not be the goal. Being present should be the goal. Getting noticed is just a side effect." The next day, I went to the park. I felt ridiculous at first. I was trying to keep my back straight, but years of bad posture had made my shoulders naturally fall forward. I usually walked with both hands in my pockets. Fareed had told me that putting your hands in your pockets wasn't wrong. But when you keep yourself closed off all the time, you send a message to people. Asterisk, don't talk to me. Asterisk, so I kept one hand out. It felt awkward, to be honest. At the entrance of the park, there was a gardener. I had seen him many times before, but had never spoken to him. That day, I stopped and said, "Good morning. Did you plant new flowers today?" He looked surprised. Then his face lit up. "Yes, sir," he said. "We planted them yesterday evening. Do you like them?" "They look beautiful," I said. That was it. 10 seconds of conversation. but I walked away feeling like I had rejoined the world. Over the next few weeks, I changed small things. I didn't try to turn myself into someone else. I wasn't trying to become 25 again. I was only trying to become human again. I donated some of my old, loose shirts that made me look tired and defeated. I bought a few simple clothes that fit properly, dark jeans, plain shirts, a decent jacket, clean shoes. Fareed once told me, dress well not for youth, but for self-respect. The hardest thing to fix was my posture. Whenever I spoke to someone, I would slightly lower my head as if I needed permission to speak. One day, Fareed looked at me and said, "You seem like a very decent man, but your body language says you believe you are a burden." That hit me hard. Later, I stood in front of the mirror and looked at myself honestly. He was right. My shoulders were folded, my chest was sunken, my eyes were down, my lips were always tight. I had a serious expression on my face almost all the time. I thought looking serious made me look mature, but in reality, it made me look unavailable. Fareed taught me something else. A smile doesn't always mean showing your teeth, he said. Just soften your face, relax your forehead. Don't make people feel like they are being interviewed when they talk to you. It sounded strange, but it worked. I started going to a local cafe. At first, I would sit at a corner table, buried in my phone or newspaper. Then I noticed something about Fareed. Whenever he entered the cafe, he greeted the staff by name. "Adil, working the morning shift today?" Or, "Sana, how is your exam preparation going?" He wasn't overly friendly. He didn't flirt. He didn't make anyone uncomfortable. He simply treated people like human beings. One day, I asked the young man behind the counter, "What's your name?" "Hamza," he said. After that, whenever I came in, I said, "Hamza, my usual tea, please." He would smile and say, "Of course, uncle." At first, being called uncle bothered me. I felt like the world was putting me into the old person category. But then I realized something. Getting older is not an insult. Being bitter, rude, and invisible is the real problem, not age. Slowly, people started noticing me, but not in the way I once imagined. Nobody looked at me like I was some impressive, stylish older man, but people felt comfortable talking to me. A man at the park invited me to join a walking group. At the cafe, I became friends with a retired engineer. At the library, I started talking to a woman named Nyla. She was 62, widowed, and loved reading history books. The first time she sat across from me, the old version of me would have either become too stiff or tried too hard to be funny. But I remembered Fareed's words, "Show interest, don't perform." So I asked her, "Which period of history do you find the most interesting?" She said, "Social life before partition." I told her, "Then you would have loved my mother's stories." She was from Lucknow. And just like that, the conversation started. I listened to her carefully. I made eye contact, but not constantly. When she spoke about something emotional, I became serious. When she shared something funny, I laughed naturally. I turned my chair slightly toward her, but I kept enough distance so she still had her space. After our conversation, she said something that I will never forget. "It was nice talking to you," she said. "You listen very well." That may have been one of the best compliments I have ever received. Before this, I thought women and people in general noticed confident men. Now I understand that confidence does not mean walking around with your chest pushed out. It does not mean talking loudly, bragging about your achievements, or dominating every conversation. Real confidence means being comfortable in your own place. It means not needing to prove that you matter. I have seen many men over 60 who are good, successful, and decent people, but their body language works against them. Some look angry all the time. Some look so tense that sitting near them feels stressful. Some turn every conversation into a complaint session. The government is bad, young people are bad, prices are bad, health is bad, family is bad. Then they wonder why people avoid them. I don't judge them because I have been there myself. Grief can close a man down. Rejection can close a man down. Retirement, health problems, children moving away, losing a spouse, all of it can make a person shrink inside. But sometimes we shrink so much that the world starts believing we don't want to be approached. Fareed once told me, body language doesn't only send signals to other people, it also sends messages to your own mind. When you stand straight, breathe fully, and look at people calmly, you remind yourself that you are still here. Today, I am 67 years old. I still feel lonely sometimes. This is not a movie where everything magically changes overnight. I still miss my wife every day. Some nights are still painfully quiet, but I no longer punish myself for being alive. I go to the park. I have tea with my walking group. I visit the library. I meet Nyla sometimes. We have a slow friendship without pressure and without labels. I go to my grandson's football matches, and instead of hiding behind my phone on a bench, I cheer for him. And yes, people notice me now, but I am no longer hungry for that attention. What I have learned is simple. If you are over 60, over 70, or any age at all, and you feel like the world is passing you by, maybe you do not need to become louder. Maybe you do not need to look younger. Maybe you just need to open your shoulders, lift your eyes, remove that permanent apologetic expression from your face, and make the person in front of you feel seen. People notice the men who walk into a room and do not think, who is going to notice me? They notice the men who think, who can I genuinely notice today?